Good evening.
Yo.
Hello.
Yo, good evening to you, Forrest. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I realise that we keep saying good evening, but it might not be evening where you're listening.
No, it's most likely morning because this uploads on a morning.
On a morning. But only if you're in the UK.
Time zones.
Yes. Time zones. I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah.
Have you had a lovely bank holiday weekend?
Yeah, it's it's long weekend, isn't it? Bank holiday weekend. It's been good. Spent today. So today's bank holiday Monday. With the family, just trying to ignore work, just living the best life with the family. So we went out today to a little family park, which was amazing, in the woods, full of fairies and a captain. And it was great. Yeah, there was a big ship. There was slides.
Oh, I'm glad that's what it was.
There were
It was a big
unicorns.
old ship. Was it a costly day out?
So we've got annual passes, so it wasn't too bad. But like I've had a fair few coffees. Rachel had a fair few coffees, so it was expensive enough. That's for sure. But I've also this weekend decided to sort my physical life out and try and get fit again. Yeah.
Oh, is this what is in the form of going to the gym or
Doing home workouts and getting into running again. So I used to do a lot of running a few years ago, and I've done 2. And I'll be quite honest, my body hates me. I am not the same age as I want. I said to Rachel, I was like, honestly, running feels different now. Like there are immediate pains and aches. But I had a run this morning, and my body did not want to. So I was fighting against myself for about 40 minutes. I'm trying to get back on that. I'm trying to hold myself accountable as well to it, because it's really difficult. And again, dear listener, if you're on this journey of fitness as well, and you've got really good tips to sort of like stay on track with things, please let me know, because I'm genuinely seeking out for as many things as possible to sort of keep me interested, because it's tough, man. It's tough.
Oh, it's a tough old world out there, mate. No, not generally. Specifically to this conversation as well. It's you've got to be. It's a long-term commitment, and it's hardcore.
But also, it's just aging. Aging is bad. Like I am not. Like I used to do a lot of running, just sort of late 20s. By the time I was 21, I ran 2 marathons, and I was like loving life. And
2005 was a great year, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, very good. Thank you. It was only a few years earlier. It was 2019. I was at my healthiest, and then COVID hit, and everybody got fit during COVID, and I just didn't. I got stressed out. We all got stressed out during COVID.
Yeah, I don't think you're preaching to the fittest choir here, to be quite honest, mate. I'm hardly known for my petite figure at any point, but thank you. That COVID, we all, just got a couple of pounds. Gained a couple of pounds. I had a couple of burgers here and there. What is funny though is that whilst you're having that and that's great and brilliant news, and I can't wait to hear more about these runs.
Great.
What you'll love is that I've spent yesterday eating the family pizza company. No, I didn't eat the company, but I had some pizza from the family pizza company.
Did you?
Yeah, which you all know. So, but this is the Brantham one. This is. So this is a new. This is a company that Matt, you got me into it.
Yeah.
They do lovely pizzas,
really
amazing and good value, mate.
Yeah,
This cheap as chips on their pizza front.
It's like a wonderful kind of like Domino's, Papa John's in the middle. That's what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not too greasy. It's fresh, but it's thick. It's got everything you need. It's great.
Thick with a double C. And to be fair, let's make a reel out of this. Let's tag them. Let's see if we can get our first sponsorship. That's what I reckon, Matt. Family Pizza Company.
I'm up for that.
Yes, please.
Thank you for
let's get this,
providing free pizza for us while I'm trying to get fit. Cheers, Forrest.
In advance, let me just create this little Vox Pops. Family Pizza Company are some of the finest in local cuisine pizza that you've seen in the United Kingdom. And we here at Don't Be a Hero podcast fully salute your pizzeria efforts.
We do.
Thank you.
I'll take a side salad for now, though.
I'll have just a small 15-inch pizza.
I'll just take a small.
I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take what he's not having.
Why are we sponsored by like Huel? I want some super food, super fast protein shakes. That's gonna help me through my journey.
Oh, yeah, no, that would be helpful as well.
That would be helpful. Just any sponsorship, really.
Yeah. At this rate, that's just an additional listener. To be fair, if
that'd be nice. Yeah,
that'd be good.
That'd be good.
We've got Bob from Belgium. He's still about. If we can have Gina from Germany, that'd be lovely.
Gina from Germany, I like that. Yeah, Abacadabra. That song's in my head at the moment. Abacadabra, the rhubarb song, the German rhubarb song. Have you not heard it? It's a huge like dance trend that's going on. Our algorithm, you should have a look on our algorithm on Don't Be a Hero Man. It is filled with it. Just people dancing to a German song.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I can't do the thingy, but it's great German. I'm really into it. As an actual musician and everything, just so you know, this isn't alcohol, this is just tea.
I know this conversation took a huge detour. That I'm fully, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm excited, and maybe Gina from Germany can enlighten us. But yeah, anyway, before we carry on, remember, please do drop us a message. We had some lovely reviews on Spotify recently. It's been gorgeous to read. So review us on there, rate us on there, drop us an email, don'tbeaheropodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
Slide into our DMs on Instagram, which I'm seeing more and more of, which is gorgeous to see. The engagement's lifting up.
We've had a sliding.
Oh, yeah. Big shout out to Matt's mum who said hello to her.
Cheers. Thanks, Mum.
Mummy Jewson, big shout out. Hey.
She didn't really, by the way.
No, she didn't. But do your parents have Instagram?
No. Oh. Or if they do, I do not follow them.
Good chat. Let's move on.
Do you know who would? Do you know who would have Instagram? Kamala Khan.
That is honest to God. Let me just grapple my Segway handles. Segue into today's episode where we are covering the Marvels.
The Marvels, a movie that was released earlier last year, and now we're gonna talk about it.
All right, Cookie Monster. Yes.
Now we're going to talk about it. Okay. So, the Marvels first. Overall thoughts.
Can we, please, right? Please, can we change things up this week? So I was just about to say that we have to do a synopsis because we haven't done one for a while.
Right.
Can you please deliver the synopsis this week as Cookie Monster?
Okay, where do you get it from? IMDb?
Rotten Tomatoes is one I use.
Oh, cheeky. The debunked Rotten Tomatoes, I'd say. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Getting it from the enemy. All right, okay, here we go.
Ooh. Here we go.
Wait.
Oh,
left like John Burton. Wait. Wait, is it just at the top?
No, it's at the bottom. Movie info. It's the grey bottle. They've changed their pages, mate.
Movie info. Synopsis. I got it.
Yeah, here we go. Right, I'm muting myself.
God, okay. As the Cookie Monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want me to as the Cookie Monster? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. So, Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, has reclaimed her identity from the tyrannical Kree and taken revenge on their supreme intelligence. But unintended consequences see Carol shouldering the burden of a destabilized universe, while her duties send her to an anomalous wormhole. Linked to a Kree revolutionary. Her powers have become entangled with that of a Jersey City superfan Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, and Carol's estranged niece, now a saber astronaut, Captain Monica Rambeau. Together, this unlikely trio must team up and learn to work in concert to save the universe as the Marvels.
That was absolutely inspired. That was, and what I didn't even realise until you started was how long that synopsis was.
That was flipping long, mate. My voice is screwed. Okay.
That's brilliant.
You're
was
welcome.
Lovely. Thank you, Cookie Monster, for the appearance here.
I feel like Thingy from Ghosts. Then, who's my favourite character?
Ooh.
Robin from Ghosts.
God, yeah.
It sounded like Cookie Monster. Thank you, Rachel. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
I did what I needed
High praise
to do.
indeed. Okay, so I'm going to give my general thoughts, Matt. So I'm going to get stuck in. So I rewatched this. I remember when we came out of the cinema. I didn't have a hatred of it. I didn't have a particular dislike of it. What I felt at the time was it was quite evident that it suffered from a lot of editing. It was on the shorter side of a movie, which I'm always a fan of. And there was a couple of scenes that were a little bit loopy, but I was kind of on board with. Now, having watched it a second time, I've actually got a slight more of a distaste for the loopy scenes than I did when we first saw it. So there's a couple of scenes in there where they try and go for the comedic value. In the cinema, I appreciated them a lot more than I did on a second watch.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I also thought that it was quite disastrous in terms of plot, in terms of narrative, and I also thought that, again, a lot of editing had gone on where the editing shouldn't have happened, but that kind of lent into the narrative at all. Overall, not very enjoyable to watch a second time. Quite happy I'm never going to have to watch it again, but there are some nice moments in there.
Very good. Very good, very good. So, as mentioned a few weeks ago, I said I'm going to go in there completely with a blank slate. Also, with the comment that Rachel was talking about, kind of like in Guardians 3, where there was the bit where they went on the planet, the Flesh planet, and Rachel was like, and you thought the Marvels was ridiculous. I mean, this is ridiculous. So I took that as a note, and I went in there open with it. Now, with that, going into a second watch, so it's contrasting to yours, Forrest. I didn't mind it as much as because in the cinema, my first reaction was like, "What is this pile of garbage? This is just all over the place." But actually, rewatching it, I can see why people think it's fun. But for me, there were some. There were some watchable moments. I think some combat scenes that I really enjoyed, particularly the one in the house. I thought it was a really fun action sequence. However, there were some absolute blinding omisses, character choices that were just wrong, full stop. And I think there were certain things and theories that I now have with certain characters that I'd like to flesh out in the episode. But there were some massive issues with this movie. However, if you're just going in there just to watch a movie and just kind of like into it, like this might be one of those movies that I might actually introduce Hayley to. Do you know what I mean? So my oldest daughter getting into the MCU. I actually think this is an appropriate movie for somebody, my daughter's turning about 8, soon. And I think that could be a decent movie for her to watch into the MCU, with the right people, watching it. So yeah, that, but there were things, mate. I wouldn't rush to watch it again.
No. I would agree on the most part with that. I think. Where do we start? I think let's start with the overall story.
Yes.
The actual content of the story of we are following Darben.
Yep.
What a name Darben is, by the way, as well. Darben. We're following Darben's search for the second bangle, which we, of course, are aware that Kamala has that first or the second bangle. And Darben has got quite a past when it comes to Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was known as the Annihilator, for basically bringing darkness to the land of...
Is it Hela?
Find the name.
Hala?
Hala?
Hala, Hala.
That sounds familiar. It's on my notes. Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah.
And for the sake of not spending 5 minutes looking at my notes, I believe you are correct. I'm going to do it anyway because I like to make sure we're correct. Destroyed Hala, yeah, that's it. So yeah, Darben's not got a good history. There's, I'm going to jump straight in, I suppose, with a gripe, which is there's a lot of science in this movie, which, given the ending, kind of makes sense. However, I think it is so... Whenever any of the science is remotely explained in this film, it is skirted over so quickly that there's so many points that are very hard to understand. So
do you mean in terms of like time jumping and time slipping? All that kind of
time
stuff,
jump... exactly that. So the whole film starts off with a jump point, right? And a jump point that isn't closing. And they say jump point a lot, so I've made a note to say like how many times can they literally use the words jump point without actually explaining what that is, right? And then so we have Monica and Carol go and visit a jump point, and then as soon as they interact with it, they kind of switch up places with Kamala, right? We get all three characters, whenever they use their powers, they kind of shift places. Yeah. Now this causes what I would deem a fun beginning to the movie, Matt. It's
a novel beginning to the movie. Like, we haven't experienced where we've got three superheroes that when they use their powers at the same time, they jump and switch bodies. That's something that hasn't happened in the MCU. So yeah, I'd agree. Like, it's actually quite if you're lightly using the word interesting, but it is an interesting concept. And the reason why this is because they all use their powers that are based on light, but they use light differently. So Kamala Khan's using light to harden light. A photon can absorb light. Miss Marvel then just kind of disperses light and all that kind of stuff. So there's different ways of the light that's being used. And yeah, it's an interesting concept. But I think how they told that, I think, was a bit kind of iffy. But maybe you're right. Maybe it's because it was too big, too bold. Sorry, I smacked the mic in the process. Yeah.
I think. Yes, I think one of my biggest gripes about the movie, right, which kind of takes us away from the story, but we'll come back to it quite quickly, is the lack of stakes. There are no stakes between characters, stakes in the stories themselves, because of all of the reasons that we'll go into about the editing, the narrative, the contents of the story. Those stakes are just never realised, right? So at the right slap bang at the start, we are Nick Fury and Monica have a conversation where Monica emerges and she's like, "Oh shit, is that like Carol that I can hear?" Right? I haven't seen Carol literally since I was a child. I haven't seen Carol, Auntie Carol, who was a great big friend of my mum's, who died horrifically in the middle of a blip. So Monica never saw her mum, right? After her mum was going through cancer. There's lots of story there, heartbreaking stuff there, Matt.
Yeah.
Right, and that is reduced in the first half an hour of the film to merely a piece of dialogue as she is floating in space over a radio to Nick Fury, where she goes, "Oh, is that Carol? Oh God. Oh yeah, it is. Will I have to confront Carol? Oh, better not." And then we move on. And then they swap places and we go back to a Kamala Khan drawing in a bedroom and we have such fun and such lark.
I think moving on, I think, scene by scene, is exactly what this movie does. There is very little opportunities, I would say, bar one scene, which I'll talk about in a moment, where it actually shows a little bit of character development and depth. Everything else skirts over anything that's got any depth and layered characterization. Everything is kind of on the surface writing. It's on the surface stuff. So, for instance, in that moment, like you say, Carol's on the other line, and Rambo just goes, I'm not ready to talk to her yet. Okay, cool. Oh, well, that's awkward. Okay, cool. So we don't delve into that really at all. And even when we do first meet them together, it's just a shutdown. It's a no. Don't call me that. My name's Captain Rambo. You can call me that. Whatever it is. And nothing. Again, nothing. It gets delved into at that first act in the movie. Speaking of that, can I go on?
Are you moving on?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on.
All right. Just I've as we do as creative peeps, I literally imagine this, Matt. Right, beginning of the movie. How much more would this have added what we needed, whilst moving on as quickly as we can, but adding the stakes? Right. Beginning of the movie, we go back to Monica as a child. We see the scene with Carol and Maria, like we do later in the movie. Maria reveals to Carol she's dying.
Yep.
Boom. Flash forward. Instant flash forward. We see Monica at the end of a blip, comes into the hospital, realises her mum's not there. A hugely emotional moment. Look, maybe something to do with like, oh, if only Carol was still in my life, my only true friend, my true friend and my mum. Boom, flash forward. We see her floating around in space, and then she hears Carol. Boom. Theme begins into the Marvels.
Yeah. But like even in that flashback, what would it be like if Carol went to see dying Monica? Is it Monica or is it what's
Monica is the daughter, Maria is the one.
Maria. So Maria Rambeau that was dying. What if Carol was there but didn't step through the door? Just at the point, do you know what I mean? Just at the point before she got blipped. She was going to say goodbye to her. She was going to send her condolences, but she didn't have the courage to do so. Because that then also links to the fact that the people were calling her the Annihilator. This is the other thing. The massive, massive, massive missed opportunity here was the fact that they did not delve into the absolute blatant wrongdoings that Captain Marvel did. The blatant wrongdoings from a superhero standpoint. I don't want to go into it just yet because it's kind of a big thing, and I think we'll kind of talk about it later because we're still talking about plot. But there were things in the character from a Captain Marvel that was missed, and those are the things that we probably could have dealt with seeing. Because then, yeah, you're right, it raises the stakes, right?
But yeah, it was narrative. The narrative it is awful, right? The actual story that I would argue that most of the stories in this film are pretty good, right? Pretty high quality, yeah. In terms of, you know, we got a good backstory for Monica and we got a good backstory for Carol. Kamala's involvement is cool.
Yeah.
The actual, like you said, the reason why they're all connected is super cool. Super cool. But it is all told in the wrong order at the wrong time, and when it is told, is just fucking zoom straight to the next. Oh, and by the way, the longest scene in the movie, in case you get too attached to all of these meaningful plots, the longest scene in the movie is going to be watching Saber as a bunch of cats roam around the station. That is the longest scene in the entire movie, is cats taking over the station. Mm-hmm. And we could have got so much more backstory for the three, cast members that we care about.
But another opportunity. What if we saw Monica and Carol on the ship when Kamala's there as well, trying to get permission from Mum and Dad to go on these adventures? What if there was a big blow up there and Kamala is in the middle of it, having to, as a teenage girl, reason with all of this depth and all of this issues that's happening between them? But wouldn't it be really cool to see Kamala kind of like go, look, let's listen to each other, let's and have this, show this kind of mature side of her? Because the other thing is that I did the standout performance in this is Kamala Khan, and what it could have done, I think, a little bit is to show this kind of like hardened, maturer side. Like, it's not just bubbly, heightened teenagery, fangirling over Captain Marvel. What if there was like an issue where I need to step in here right now? I need to be the mediator. I need to be the hero. They just could have played into that.
Yeah, exactly. And the if we go back to Miss Marvel as a series, right? One of the main things about that series was the idea of family. Right, it's about Kamala's family, about her nan's story, how it's interwoven with her cousins and the groups and the factions and all of that stuff. Right now, it doesn't have to go Lilo and Stitch territory, right? A family, but or even Fast Too Furious family. Mm-hmm. But they could try and make two gags there, but Matt's not even smile once.
Sorry,
I'm
just really into it. Sorry, I'm really into this conversation, genuinely. There's so much to talk about.
I was like doing the worst stand-up routine there. I'm like, Lilo and Stitch in it. Fast Too Furious. Okay. Just get on with the point for us. Is that Kamala could have been there, right? And Monica had said, Auntie, Carol, their family had been established, right? Their family tie-ins, their family network had been established. Now, how better to have Kamala Khan develop as a character and to get older within her role than to have her be the person, exactly like you said, Matt, to cut in the middle of all of it, during the memory scene, specifically, perhaps, where Kamala is seeing these memories, seeing these attachments, seeing these things that Monica's been through. How better would it have been for Kamala to be the voice of reason, to be the one to go, look, you both lived a long time without each other, but ultimately time and light and everything has brought you back together. We could have had a whole spiel from Kamala, which would have really embedded the team of three, would have meant that Kamala had her moment, and would have actually then created the third act of the film, which didn't feel like, suddenly everyone's fine with each other.
And
it could have been
like with each other and stuff. Yeah.
Can work with each other. Oh yeah, they suddenly know how to fight with like a whole team, and Kamala would have been that voice and would have been that reason. Yeah. Like, it's just makes complete sense.
But it also justifies then Kamala in the end credits recruiting everybody. She's then taking on this leadership role of trying to recruit the young Avengers. Like that's what we needed to see, because right now we just see a clueless teenager that's trying to recruit people. It's
100%.
There's lots of these issues actually. When the more we talk about it, I think the more I'm kind of realizing as well. any on a plot point, I had an issue with. Well, not an issue. No, yeah, it's an issue. Just how kind of the scrolls were just used.
Yes. Thank you. Just about to mention it. Yeah.
Bearing in mind that we've just had Secret Invasion, and we need to talk about the fact that Nick Fury doesn't talk about Secret Invasion, and Nick Fury acting not like Nick Fury. I've got a little theory about that. You can probably guess what it is, but the fact that Skrulls are in it, and we've spent a whole series as a fan base about the Skrulls. Seeing them in another refugee camp that they have found, and they are finding and they're living in, and this is one of the only places that they can live in, also get destroyed by Kree again, and it just happened in 10 minutes. That is a massive thing. The whole series of Secret Invasion was about protecting them, and then boom.
Now,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I wish I'd have done a bit of research into this, but do we know what the timeline was like of because we know that Secret Invasion was, and I'm not talking about the timeline within the MCU. I'm talking about, we know that the Secret Invasion was filmed during COVID. Now, is it that when they were filming the Marvels, was it that they weren't sure Secret Invasion would be fully realised?
I think
so.
That's
It wouldn't
right.
come till later on.
Yeah.
So therefore they couldn't. And you know, and maybe that explains Nick Fury, is that they've kept with the Captain Marvel Nick Fury from the first film, and that kind of jovial spirit that Nick has when it comes to Carol Danvers. And whether that's it, maybe.
I can only assume that must be the case, because the thing is that the Nick Fury we see in the Marvels against the Nick Fury we had in Secret Invasion, they are completely different characters.
And you know, as we explained at the end of Secret Invasion, he goes back to Saber with his wife. So his wife would have been in this. There's no reason to not have his wife in this. You know, yeah. I have a feeling it's been suffered by that.
My only assumption here, and this kind of goes into my theory. So, I feel like this movie is before Secret Invasion. So this is and what I. This could either be genuinely Nick Fury, or it could be to justify the fact that he is also a Nick Fury in this movie that cannot keep control of the people that he's talking to. Also, incredibly clueless about what's going on. He is. If you listen to it again, watch it again, you notice all he does is ask questions. What's this? What's that? What's hard light? What's that? Who's this? Who's that? You know, and it's like you're Nick Fury. You're Nick Fury. You should know a little bit about space by now, and all these kind of like things. Particularly from a hard light standpoint, you should know Captain Marvel's powers. Therefore, you should know everybody else's light powers.
It literally does look like the beginning of the movie where we see Miss Marvel like drawing, and so, this literally seems like it's coming straight after the Miss Marvel series.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
maybe it is. Maybe there's a confirmation there, dear listener. If you do know that, please tell us. Let us know. But it gives us that huge suggestion. The other theory I have is that to justify the fact that this is quite a clueless Nick Fury in the movie is that it could potentially be a Skrull. It could be a Skrull Nick Fury. That's up there in space doing his thing, while simultaneously there is Secret Invasion happening on Earth. You know, this could be happening at the same time as Secret Invasion. I think that's a little bit more complicated, but potentially.
Could we get an answer to that in Deadpool?
Maybe. I mean, why would they bother, mate? Do you know what I mean?
But we could, yeah. Deadpool seems like it's very much following Loki rather than going anywhere near Saber and Nick Fury in a Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, the whole Nick Fury bit pissed me off a little bit. It was just like.
it just feels like there's 3 different movies in this film. There's the movie that's like there's the movie that's kind of like WandaVision. So it's a little bit dark, a little bit edgy. You know, there's a lot of emotional punch there, right? So WandaVision, you know, Monica Rambeau, Maria Carroll's backstory, all of that. So you got that film going on. Then you've got a kind of Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey movie. 3 women, you know, quite zany, out there, loud, proud, boom, boom, boom. What can they do? What can they achieve together? Blah, 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 blah. A female antagonist as well. So, really strong. Bum, bum, bum. Then you've got like fucking mental, like Thor Love and Thunder comedy, like way too far-fetched, way too bizarre. And it's just like 3 films like trying to come into, like, they don't fit. They're entirely different. And the biggest, and again, right, so I remember saying this when we came out of the film the first time, and I watched it. I saw it when I watched the film for the second time, and I also went back to watch it specifically. Now they have, and it's the scene straight after. They have a fight scene on the initial planets, tarmacs. So they're on tarmacs, and Darban comes down, and they're like shooting all the ships, right? And then suddenly the ship with Carol, Monica, and Kamala lands, and then Carol rushes out, and they suddenly bring in all this exposition. Right, Carol starts talking about why she's called the Annihilator, why they don't like her, why she regrets being like she has been, like all of this exposition, all of this sadness, all of this real sad scene, right? Which has just followed a completely zany action scene, right? Where no one's quizzed Carol at all. No one's asked Carol directly, like, why are they so against you? What's happened here? Blah, blah. So there's no reason for that scene to take place. Something massive has clearly been removed from prior to that scene to make that scene make any sense. They just come off the ship. She starts going, no, you're not listening to me. This is the horrible backstory. And then it's followed instantly by shit again. I'm just like, what? There's just no time for any stakes, character development, any understanding of what brings these 3 people. Well, no, we do know why these 3 people are here at this moment in time, but why should we care that these 3 people have been joined? You know, it's very muddled.
Mate, well done. That is a rant and a half. Well done. That is, I completely agree. What is the point? Because there is no real depth that's played into it. And this is where I go into, I understand why people say just watch it because it's a piece of fun movie. It's a fun movie. Don't take it too seriously. Don't try and search for these types of things. Okay, fine. I understand that, and I can see why that you can enjoy it in that way. However, this is the MCU, you know, and we spoke about it from phases 1, 2, and 3 in particularly. There was this golden thread that was slowly being put through every single character that's being played through, and that is what makes the MCU successful. That is what makes it compelling against other things, and it should still be the overall objective for the company and for Disney as a whole. And they do that by only because of then introducing the massive thing that was at the end of this in terms of like end credit sequence, even a mid credit sequence in terms of playing into that golden thread. But it could be something that's used in the actual narrative that you are telling. Don't just wait till the end, and that's what we fell fault of with Phase 4 and Phase 5. And most of these movies and TV series are like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot this is the MCU. Oh, let's just do that in the end credit sequence. No, that's just such a waste. You should play it into the narrative, and I'm gonna move on to Captain Marvel's character in this movie. Now we had this character introduced to us, I think 2015, 16, I can't remember now, with the first movie. Okay, I'm not slating Brie Larson here. I actually think Brie Larson is a good actress, and I actually think I just think she's was dealt with bad hands of writing at times, and I think there was a slight kind of pushed maybe agenda, I think, around what the image of Captain Marvel should be going forward for cinema. And what happens here in this movie, what I think should have happened anyway, is that this should have been, and I know MCU like being formulaic and taking narratives from other places, so I'm just going to suggest this could have been Captain Marvel's Iron Man 3. PTSD. Something of guilt-ridden. Something that is she needs to deal with a darker history, a darker past. Yeah, go on.
But wasn't the point not that this was Monica's PTSD? It just wasn't done very well.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, maybe. But like,
because it's about her abandonment. So Carol's abandonment of Monica, and Monica not having her mum, not having the blip, and it's that kind of, she's trying to bury that, but it's never highlighted enough.
I think that's part of it from Captain Marvel's perspective. The fact she abandoned Monica, okay, as a kid, she didn't do what she promised for the Skrulls, abandoned the Skrulls that were left on Earth. Okay, so there's two things that she abandoned there. She committed mass genocide. On Kree, on Hala, right? So she did that, and that's what the plot is about. Is that you've got Darben who's trying to say, look, you killed half of my race, and we're trying to build our planet back up, but you actually ruined it because the sun's about to explode, and everything that you've done in terms of destroying the main Kree person who forgets me the name now, it's destroyed our planet. So all of these things should have been played in throughout the movie. There was a scene on like this cornfield where they have this kind of like, you know, Captain Marvel talks about, oh, you know, I've done all this stuff, I feel a little bit guilty, blah, blah, blah. But we don't see that be played out or see it get affecting her that much. When Tarmax is getting absolutely annihilated by the Kree, we have a moment where Captain Marvel goes, we have to save those who we can. And Kamala Khan's going, wait, what? That's not right. What are you talking about? And she's kind of hardened by that. And she leaves. And I was like, oh, there it is. That's the opportunity. Where we see Captain Marvel going, we can't save everybody, so we just need to save some. And then after that, we should have seen Kamala Khan go, what the F was that? That is BS. What are you doing? This isn't the Captain Marvel I know. But confronting her from a heroic standpoint, I look up to you, you're my hero. What are you doing? This is wrong. And then we could have had an absolute blowout, and we could have seen this kind of heroic transformation from Captain Marvel. Because the other complaint that we have in the MCU right now is that people are saying Captain Marvel's too overpowered. Okay, you can say the same thing about Superman. But the thing is, what makes Superman such a great character is that he is this symbol of hope. And then underneath it all, he's got these things that he needs to deal with. The loss of, the loss of his parents, the loss of Lois or whatever it might be, learning about the human race. There are human things that he needs to experience, and that is the same thing that Captain Marvel should have done. We should have seen this arc, this turnaround, but also seeing the darker moments, and it gets played with absolute no guilt, really, and it's such a missed opportunity. And then I think on the flip side, that then justifies Darben a little bit more, because I thought, mate, and what do you? I mean, before I go into talk about Darben, but like, what do you feel about that in terms of like Captain Marvel?
I 100% agree.
There was no focus.
I agree completely. Yeah, no focus. I think it was for an hour and a half film. There was way too many plots and way too many like objectives to be ticked. It's an hour and a half film. It needs to just be, you know, one main plot, one subplot, job done. Yeah. You can't whereas it's trying to achieve so many things, which then meant it could achieve nothing, basically, except show us that loads of cats were born.
But that's the thing. Then it goes straight to the target audience, doesn't it? And that's the thing. This movie pandered to the younger target audience that they were trying to find in the MCU. And fair play. And they clearly were trying to do that with this, and they very much used Miss Marvel as kind of like the forefront of this movie. So Captain Marvel took a little bit of a step back, but also we're trying to learn a little bit about Monica's new powers. It just kind of got muddled a little bit, and I think the framing of the focus should have been a little bit different. I think it should have been Captain Marvel at the forefront. Like, that's your Captain America, but, you know, in a way, do you know what I mean? So you need to use that as the forefront. I mean, she's the one that turned up at Endgame and absolutely ripped everybody to shreds. You know what I mean? Like, you should have just kept going in with that, and then seeing this character arc where Miss Marvel's learning that actually nothing's all sunflowers and roses, being a superhero, and Monica's learning and, you know, about her powers, but also trying to deal with the past as well, with Captain Marvel, with Carol. There's all these things, man, that just didn't get played an ounce. It's... the more I'm talking about it now, the more I'm getting annoyed about it.
What are the things that you did enjoy about the film?
Okay. I like. Let's talk about that scene. Let's talk about the singing scene, the musical bit. I remember sitting in the cinema with you, Forrest, and thinking, "What the actual F is this? A BS?" Now, upon watching it again and taking the note from Rachel, it didn't bother me that much. It didn't bother me that much at all. But I think so. I'd say, just if I was to look at it as a fun movie, that would be the bit where I'd be like, oh yeah, it's quite funny. But in terms of what I actually, mate, I don't know. I can't answer the question. What did I actually enjoy?
Yeah. What did you enjoy?
Oh no, I enjoyed the house action sequence in that first 20 minutes of the movie where they're swapping powers and they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and then they're having the fight with people, and the family's involved and all that kind of stuff. I actually enjoyed that bit. That was quite funny. But I've got to say, that's got to be the only bit I enjoyed. Even when we were watching it the second time around, I had to kind of remind myself to stop looking at my phone.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, for me, going back to what you were talking about in terms of the singing element, I said the same thing when we watched it the first time. Is that I didn't mind that, but they didn't use it for the whole scene.
Yeah,
so they used it for the gag, they used it for the dance, and then after that, when Darwin comes down and shit hits the fan, suddenly they stop singing. I'm like, you've got to follow through. You can't, like, if you're gonna have a singing planet, they would sing whether they're in peril or not. You know, planet Earth people don't stop talking if like war erupts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If anything, people get more animated. So the songs would have to be, and I think that's that. If you can't just use something as a gag, if you want people to buy in and believe, then you have to. That has to be throughout that journey. I really did enjoy. For me, I enjoyed what I deemed the first of these three movies in one movie was, right. I liked the memory scene. I loved the whole Monica really having a hard time with Carol Danvers and being reminded of everything that she's gone through with her mum and the blip, and I did enjoy that. I just wished that they had have followed that throughout. And I really wish that we would have had a bigger journey come from that. So her rejoin, because also the way that Monica leaves the film or leaves the fabric of the universe that they're in, it would have been far more hard hitting if Monica had have started the film being quite anti-Carol. Right, and then the film is about Carol really gaining Monica's, respect, and as we talked about earlier, Kamala would have joined in on that and been the voice of reason, and that would have been really brilliant if they would have got really close, had that awesome fight scene at the end, only for Monica to just disappear out of Carol's life again. And then we could have had a moment there where, when we did, but we didn't have a long enough moment for Carol to realise what's just happened, right? And that would have been really emotional, really wonderful to have seen. It would have given Brie some like acting chops to go with Captain Marvel, to really see the pain of gaining her back in her life and losing her at the end. But we didn't get any of that. She disappears, and Captain Marvel's thinking, that's a bit disappointing. Let me see what I can do in Hala and help the people of Hala. I'm like, hang on a minute, you've literally just lost someone that's been, you've just gained back in your life, mate. Let's dwell on that for 5 minutes.
Maybe. I think this is the thing, the lack of recognition of impact on what Captain Marvel and Carol Danvers does. Like it's her ability to just move on into the next moment. Now, I think that's where people go, that's because she's a bad actress.
But I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. No.
You can only provide that acting if you're given the opportunity in a film to do it.
Exactly.
Right? If you haven't got an opportunity in a script to display, a feeling or a thought, you're not going to have that feeling or a thought. Yeah. You can emotionally present that, right? Sure. She can be in the background of a scene and show how distraught she might be. But if that's in the background of a scene, or in a scene that lasts 2 seconds and you're out of it, it means fuck all to an audience member. You're not going to appreciate Bree's acting chops. No. You're going to have a full scene. It should have been a full moment between Kamala and Carol, where Carol was distraught. And again, you had a second opportunity for Kamala to be the voice of reason, to be there as the adult in the situation, to cool down. Kamala has idealised Carol her entire life. And for her to be the one at the very end of the movie to go, look, Carol, I'm here. I'm your person. I'm gonna take some of this pain and suffering from you. What an awesome, brilliant moment that would have highlighted the acting chops for the actress who plays Kamala as well, who I can't remember. Can you remember off the top of your head? Yeah. So it would have worked on all aspects. That would have been theatrical. It would have been amazing. But no, we don't get that. We see Carol look up, go, oh, well, she's fucked off. All right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to this random planet and help them.
And that is, honestly, I think it is down just to the writing, just to the script, because there is nothing that is hinting to you that they're going to explore that. There is nothing that's leading to anything like that. Those kind of developments in the writing are not shown because it's literally scene. Let's do a 2-minute scene here. We're going to do a 2-minute scene here. We're going to do a 3-minute action sequence here. We're going to do a 2-minute scene here. It's just churning, just on the surface action movie. Just on the surface. That's it.
And there's another big example right at the end of the movie. So we're getting into mid-credit scene, where we get the big, huge reveal, right? So Monica goes on the other side of this tear in time, so she's in a different reality. She wakes up, she's in a hospital bed. She is next to her mum, who she knows to have died, lost her in the most tragic of circumstances, right? And initially, Mum, trying to get the, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, Matt, because we as a viewer have to become so fucking oh my god, obsessed by the fact that Beast has walked in, aka X-Men are rocking up, aka our attention needs to be on what's coming later in the MCU. We completely forget, right, and I'm talking from the writer's perspective, that she has literally woke up to her dead mum, but sat alive next to her, because the minute Maria stands up and Beast has left the room, Monica, and again, this is more so on the actress, actually, for Monica. I'd say that was a pretty bad piece of acting, because the minute Maria stands up, it's like, oh, okay, Oh God! Oh, this is all a bit confusing. You would be bloody distraught. Your own mum's not recognising you, even if you've cottoned on that you're in a different reality and you've been told that by Beast. You are still begging for your mum to understand that she's your mum and you've lost her, and it's tragic, right? It's going to bring the trauma that would bring up overshadows the alternative reality. She's not going to be listening to any of that. If your dead mum rocks up in front of you, you couldn't give a shit what a random guy in blue is saying to you. It angers me, Matt. It really angers me that writers at the top of their game in Hollywood can't write a fucking scene like that. Mental.
I absolutely agree. They literally piped in.
Over.
They piped in the Beast reveal, X-Men coming into the MCU as you have to come and see this movie because there's something that happens at the end. You get to see Beast, and you go, okay. And it literally, you're right. It just completely kind of like slaps in the face of Monica's journey as well. The fact that she's seeing her mum in front of her for the first time. I see that first moment when she wakes up and she sees her mum. She really is, I think, trying her hardest in acting there. You see the tears coming out. You see the emotional weight coming through. And then it's literally like a bitch slap. It just goes, fuck off, we don't care about you. No. Here's Beast.
And out of the way. Yeah.
Literally.
Whoa, don't care. Beast walking through.
Beast.
Surely to the majority of audience members, we would have found that as far more of a brilliantly executed, brilliantly written scene if that scene was purely turmoil of dead mum is alive, sat next to you, doesn't recognise you for shit, right? Monica pleading with Maria, like, this is what's happened, like, you're right in front, and then we just see Beast in the background. No words, we just see Beast in the background. We get even get a full, the front of Beast looking at Monica, going, "Oh, you're awake." End of scene. That would have packed far more of a punch, far more realistic than the focus being on Beast. It wasn't about Beast. We've just watched Monica for an hour and a half. It should be about Monica. It's not about Beast. We can have a film about Beast. Beast, get back in your box, mate. It's just
goes to show how much you care about the X-Men.
Which I do, and they'll have their moment, right? But that's all of those pivotal moments in this film are just skirted over just so that Marvel, as you say, can get their action scene out, can get their new character out, get this let us enjoy a piece of cinema. Let us enjoy a scene.
There's all these rumours around the fact that the director had absolutely no care in the world about the movie. I don't want to spread anything there, but like what it does look like in that end credit sequence is that the showrunners or whoever they are, the writers, director, whoever is in charge of that moment, just went, I know people aren't going to like this movie, so let's just do this bit.
And and also, right, and to people who just cut in and say, to people at that point who will be like, this is the problem with the MCU, that's the problem with Marvel, Forrest, you're not going to get an emotional scene, it's supposed to be comic book, right? All I'm going to say to you, go and watch the sequel to Black Panther and then tell me that. See how Black Panther the sequel does it and how emotional that film is while also being a comic book movie, then come back to me. That's how movies should be done.
Watch Winter Soldier. Watch Civil War. Watch
Endgame, for fuck's sake, to a degree, you know what I mean?
Let's keep going. Watch bits of Iron Man 3, to be honest. Even that movie's complicated and a bit off the kilter, but still there's moments there. Do you know what I mean?
Comic book films are not made purely for action and surface level. They can be deep rooted, highly emotional, highly adventurous. Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Exactly. Well done. Exactly.
Boom.
Exactly.
Point ended. 20-minute rant over.
No, but I think that's the best way of finishing it. The other thing I was just about to say, just so I got the opportunity just quickly to say, I think unfortunately there was also just no threat with the villain. I think, unfortunately, Dar-Ben was an absolute complete miss. Again, writing standpoint, I think the actress is absolutely phenomenal. And this is the other thing. MCU do cast good actors. They cast talented people. I just don't think they're used very well in some particular moments like this movie in particular. So Dar-Ben was an absolute miss. And I think there was just no threat. I think the look could have been a little bit more vicious. But then, yeah, I think that's the fact that it had absolutely no threat. There was no threat in this movie at all. There were no stakes.
And again, it's the way that the narrative is told. They do it in such a weird. Why it needed to start with Monica's. Who is the film about? Who are you trying to concentrate on? And let that shape the how you are going to tell that journey, right? Yeah. If the story was about Dar-Ben, right, which a lot of the movie was, right, and actually that's the most important thread for showing about where Carol is in this movie, right? Yeah. Forget about Monica for 5 seconds, Kamala for 5 seconds. If this movie was about them two, why did we not start with the Annihilator? Yeah. That would have made far more sense. It gives us the context, gives us the reason for Dar-Ben being how Dar-Ben is. It gives us a bit of, oh, hang on, Carol's not all that she, set out to be in Captain Marvel. Not Captain. Yeah, Captain Marvel. Yeah. And that'd be that. And I just don't, how these people have jobs behind the scenes. I don't get it. It wasn't that much of a difficult film to do, mate. There was such magic in it. Just do it right.
So many opportunities there. So many. Anyway, there we go. What's your rating, mate? Give us a crisp rating for the Marvels.
I think for this, it's all about. It's about the opportunity. There is a lot to potentially love in this film if it was done right. Right, it's not a film where you're like, never stood a chance. There is a lot of Secret Invasion never stood a chance. That is just fundamentally a bad thing, right? It's just not. This had so much opportunity behind it. It was just never realised. So this for me is an expired salt and vinegar of Pringles. So all of the taste is gone. Okay. It had the opportunity of being a lovely salt and vinegar, but they're just dried up, shriveled pieces of crisp.
I would also go with salt and vinegar Pringles, but you actually open it and it's half empty. Oh my God! Oh, no. This isn't what I asked for. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Complete missed opportunity, and it's a shame. It's just a shame. And I can understand why people will say just watch it because it's just a movie, but also. At the end of the day, we are two guys that have MCU'd marathoned from the absolute beginning, and I'm sorry, at this point, we're like, we need some serious threads here. We need some content. We've seen some. We've experienced Phase 3. Come on, and it is about that. I think for us. Yeah. It's not for us, mate, as well. I think it's worth saying that it's not for us. It's not for this. Yeah. It's not for this target audience. It is about female representation in this movie as well. It's worth saying, and that's what I mean. And I go back to saying the fact that I'd be really comfortable watching this with my daughter and her being introduced to the MCU in that way with this movie, and particularly with Kamala Khan as somebody that could be an influence to her. I get that, and I understand why that was placed here. However, there were other opportunities to still have that, but tell a good story. Oh my God! Yeah. How fucking hard is it to tell a good story? For Christ's sake, I've said this so many fucking times in this podcast. Just tell a fucking good story, literally. Oh my God, Phase 5, you're killing me.
You're killing me. You're really killing me. And we are the fun doesn't stop. So next week we've got 2 more before we are officially caught up.
That's absolutely mad.
Which is insane. Next week we will be looking at the second series of What If. That will also be our 2-year anniversary, Matt.
Yeah, so it's 2 years, man. We've nearly done this whole thing. We've nearly caught up with 2 years of podcasting. 2 years and 1 week, it sounds like then. So that is actually mad. We've done this whole journey in 2 years, and it's what an achievement, mate. Honestly, this is the other thing. podcast alone, we have done this somehow. Do you know what I mean? And we have endured with certain projects, particularly.
There have been, there was. I got to admit, Phase 4 was tough. There was a moment in Phase 4 where we could have quite easily
just given up,
just called it a day.
Yeah.
But we persevered, and we're going to be rewarded handsomely, because at the end of this, we've got some passion projects we want to do,
yeah, we have.
and the next time we touch MCU will be Deadpool. So we're going to have some incredible times ahead, and hopefully it starts next week when we explore What If Season 2. I've got a feeling it's going to be a mixed bag, but we'll find out.
Yep.
And then a week after that, we're going to look at Echo again. Could be a mixed bag, but I am genuinely looking forward to that. And then after that, we're into new territories. So take our hands, put your seatbelts on, and enjoy the ride. And remember, ladies and gents, my final words for this week: don't be a hero.